What is going on, guys? Max Settings here, and welcome back to another review. In today's review, we are going to be taking a look at the Moondrop Starfield IEM. Now, a little disclaimer before we hop into today's review. The Starfield was provided to me for review by Shenzhen Audio. They are an online retailer of a lot of different Chinese audio brands and some non-Chinese ones too. But they were kind enough to send the Starfield over for review, so big thanks to them for this review unit. Now, let's move on into the specs of the Starfield. This is Moondrop's entry-level IEM, coming in at a $109 MSRP. It is using a single 10mm carbon nanotube driver with an impedance of 32 ohms, a sensitivity of 122 dB of volt, and a frequency response of 20 to 20,000 hertz. Now, moving on into the build of the Starfield. The Starfield, I think it's a metal body. It's either metal or a very dense plastic. And of note, this is a very beautiful IEM. It is a glittery blue and purple finish, depending on how the light hits it. It can look kind of blue or kind of purple. One side has like a compass on it, and the other side says Starfield. Looks really nice. The orange tips are the Symbio tips, not the stock tips, but I will link these below. And yeah, I think this is honestly the best looking IEM that Moondrop makes. Even including their $1,200 soulless flagship. Personally, this is the best looking thing they make, at least to me. So I really like how it looks. They feel very nice and heavy and solid in the hand. Now, I've been told this finish is prone to chipping, so you probably want to be kind of careful with them. But they feel really nice in the hand, and they look really good. Now, for included accessories, you get this very nice cable. Very nice soft cable that is purple. It's braided, has little ear hooks, 3.5mm. Quite nice included stock cable for $110 IEM. I definitely like it better than the cable included with the 10T4, which I think will be their closest competitor. And you also get this little bit of a carrying case here for them. You just roll them up and put them in there. It says Moondrop Co. on the front, and you get a little bag of silicone ear tips. So that is the included accessories with the Starfield. Now, as for comfort, I find the Starfield quite comfortable. This is quite a nice IEM shape for my ear. And believe it or not, I actually find this more comfortable than both the IER Z1R and U12T from the last review. I find this IEM quite comfortable, and I can wear it for a long time without any issues. So big props to the comfort on the Starfield. Personally, I find it quite comfortable. Okay, so now let's hop on into the sound of the Moondrop Starfield. So starting off with frequency response, the Moondrop Starfield is basically tuned to the Harman over-ear target, but in an in-ear form. So they have about a 6-ish dB bass shelf that starts at 20 hertz and is basically rolls off by the time you hit about 100 to 120 hertz. It comes back to a decently flat mid-bass and lower mid region. After that, you do have a slight bit of forwardness in the mids around 2K, but nothing too bad. After that, you have a relatively neutral to slightly bright treble region. However, it is not as bright as the 10T4, which we'll talk about in just a second. So overall, this is basically just a Harman target IEM, a warm, I'd say warm, kind of neutral sound signature. So like a little bit of a bass boost with slightly forward mid-range and relatively inoffensive treble. Now, as for other aspects, they are actually decently dynamic. I find them much more dynamic than the tins. And they have a decent punch to their low end. They have really good sub bass. Definitely pretty good in the macro dynamics in terms of slam. Microdynamics, not the greatest thing in the world, but it's a cheap IEM, so you can't expect too much in that regard. Now, in terms of timbre, they are a little bit plasticky, but nothing terrible. Fairly inoffensive in terms of timbre. Head stage is about average, nothing insanely wide. It's called about an average soundstage. Imaging is also about average. And in terms of detail, I find them very detailed for the price point. Now, I think the Etymotic ER2s are going to out-resolve these, but personally I find them a little bit more resolving than the tin T4 personally. So that is about all you need to know about the sound on the Starfield. So now let's hop into the comparison here between, I'd say, their closest competitor being the tin T4. Now, I said in my review of the T4 that I think it's a good IEM and I like the T4, but I also mentioned that I just find it kind of boring and I just don't really enjoy listening to it, even though I really can't point out too much wrong with it. And the reason for that is I just think the tins just sound kind of dead to me, and I find the Starfield a lot more engaging and a lot more dynamic and fun to listen to. And this is also warm. This is just slightly less warm than the Starfield is. But the Starfield I find a little bit more resolving and a little bit more dynamic and engaging. So personally, I prefer the Starfield greatly to the tin T4. Now, I think the ER2XR is still going to be probably the one to go with for around this $100-ish price tag. But not everybody can do that etymotic fit, and I know I couldn't before the dual flange tips. So if you don't like or can't do the etymotic fit, I think this is probably going to be the new go-to benchmark for $100 IEMs. I actually really enjoy this IEM, and my friends that have tried it have all really liked it too. It's a very good sounding IEM if you like Harman target. Now, it is a warm IEM. Not everybody's going to like this much bass, but if you want a warm, bassy IEM for around $100, this is going to be the one to go with, in my opinion. I give the Moondrop Starfield a very high recommendation. It's a little bit easier to listen to than the T4 as well, because the T4 is a little bit of an annoying 5K peak, and this is just not quite as bright and peaky as the T4 is. So overall, Moondrop Starfield gets my recommendation, and if you want a normal fitting IEM for $100, I think this is the one that you should go with. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed my review of the Moondrop Starfield. Links of where to buy these at Shenzhen Audio in the description below, as well as my Twitter, my contact email, and all of the other relevant information. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the review. Look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye.